Did you know that the truth is, I actually don't want to be making these videos? And the reason why is because it does come at a great personal cost. I regularly am misunderstood and demonized by folks. Now, I also am very aware that that is because of 400 years of misinformation. And it's really unfortunate because despite all the rhetoric about people wanting to be allies, when you ask them to do the simplest things, they actually refuse to do it. And because of the misunderstandings that I regularly have, like I was recently really demonized. I had a journalist say my words are venomous because he took it the worst way you could possibly take it instead of just listening. As an Indigenous woman, this is my normal. Now, I opened up my social media today, and the first thing I seen was actually a Globe and Mail piece talking about why we have to stopping these pride parades. And, you know, yesterday I had shared a video that many of you are resharing about how white, straight, cis people should shut up and just not be speaking about these issues. I am straight, I am cis, but I'm also a woman who has experienced an extreme amount of violence. And I have been understanding and unpacking what that looks like for the 2S LGBTQ community as well. And I was one of the strongest advocates for it in my area because people were so afraid to speak about it. I have a history of trying to push the national inquiry for folks to use the term Two-Spirit. This has been done by many people before me. This was done by women, Indigenous women, for decades, and this was also done by the Two-Spirit community for decades before me as well. It's just my moment now to continue to pass that torch and to try to push the narrative. I would rather be regular house mom, just trying to do the day-to-day stuff. I wish I could be that person. And I'm honored to not be that person. I'm honored to take the bullets, to take the venomous comments said to me, whether it's on Twitter or whether it's on here. And the reason why is because we need this world to get better. We need reconciliation. We need meaningful reconciliation, not like, oh my God, Natives still exist and I'm wearing a mascot. So I'm going to talk very clearly and directly about the Globe and Mail article. I can't even read it because it's paywall, but I could see the headline about how this needs to stopping pride parades. And with the deepest respect, that's capitalism speaking. And this media and the people who retweet and share and comment positively to it, you are perpetuating colonialism and racism. And I'm going to talk to you why and what the answers are. And they've been here for quite some time. The Royal Commission on Aboriginal Peoples was released in 1996. The National Inquiry more recently. But the National Inquiry is pretty clear for media representation. Now, I've had this in my Linktree. I've had it in my book club. I have talked about it ad nauseum. Frankly, I just cannot understand how it is that a Canadian journalist in the Crow's Nest Pass feels so comfortable attacking an Indigenous woman with so many of my 8,000 followers, just fine and dandy with it and not trying to intervene in any capacity. I'm fine and dandy with my followers here on TikTok, constantly talking down to me and not having any of my so-called allies speaking up for me. But I know why. And it's unfortunate. I think less of you all for doing nothing. And I call it weaponized incompetence, as people have followed me and know. So the answers, again, this has been available for a super long time, the National Inquiry. I have the book. You can find this at almost every library. I witnessed the executive director of, at the time, Awaton Healing Lodge, who's now the executive director of the Native Women's Association, pass a copy of this to the Calgary Police. I have seen the effects of people understanding the National Inquiry. So I just wanted to bring attention to, there's two volumes. There's 1A and 1B. And 1A, which I have in front of me on page 385, has media representation, a deeper dive. And the reason why this is so important is because not only does it talk about how gendered violence affects people who are people of color, specifically Indigenous in this case, or who are 2S LGBTQ, how they are demonized in the media. And literally this article by the Globe and Mail just continues and perpetuates that very violence. Now, we all know the reason why the last one was stopped in Ottawa was because it was in support of Palestine. So if you look at this issue with Palestine and Israel, which I've given many links to, which people have obviously ignored and not elevated, amplified, shared with others, it's colonialism. This whole book talks about the violence of colonialism and media and misrepresentation in this case. And this is what Canadian media does. And that is why, as much as I hate the right wing saying that corporate left wing media is X, Y, and Z, it has never been positive for women, for Indigenous people, or for racialized people, and definitely not in this moment for Israel and Palestine. These prides, they're being stopped for a really valid reason. And just like in the inquiry, when we talk about how we don't actually talk to the families in a good way and we depict the other side as criminals, that's what you're seeing constantly in the media. Whether it was the Black Lives Matter that stopped the parade in 2016 in Toronto, or whether it's, last weekend in Ottawa. We need proper media representation, and we need people to be talking about the 231 calls to justice. If they were implemented, if media cared, I wouldn't have a journalist from the Crow's Nest past speaking down to me and maybe understanding what colonialism is. And I wouldn't have, these eco-green white settlers calling me, asking me for free labor. And we certainly wouldn't see Pride being demonized for actually talking about amplifying the most marginalized groups of people. So I implore you to read this. That's free online. It's a PDF for anybody to get. It's been in my link tree. I have the Reconciliation Action Group. It's in their link tree. It is weaponized incompetence at this point for a major media organization to be publishing something like that, let alone Canadians consuming it and saying, oh yeah, that's right. It is disgusting. It's deplorable. It's racist. It's colonial. When are we going to stop this gendered violence, not just against the 2S LGBTQ community, but women in general as well? That's what this is. So either understand that, this page is not for you if you cannot to understand that.